Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Let them come.
Ayo, new change, new logo, new audio. I was not expecting that. Anyway, yeah, I'm kind of like fuzzy after that, but like, yeah, welcome back to Where Heartbreak Feels Good. We are back for our monthly episode of what we watch in the months of June. And joining me today is the creator of that audio is Josh D. Woodbury.
Let them come. I decided
that's
that in there last night because obviously Transformers released this month, even though I didn't see it. You guys did.
You didn't see it.
No. And also joining us is Evan Harris.
Glad to be here. We're doing good. 3 days away, for me at least, for Mission Impossible. I can't wait.
Old news.
Old news. Old news.
Old news.
Fuckers. But I'm excited. June was a very packed month. It felt like how are we already in July 7th already? Like
It's wild.
I'm excited for what's to come for Mission Impossible, Barbenheimer, whatever. But like I gotta go back to work in like a month, so I'm not happy, Bob.
Oh no.
Yeah, that sucks. But June was a lot of fun. A lot of great TV shows, a lot of fun stuff. A lot of not so fun stuff, but we roll. We keep it moving. We see everything.
Yeah. And to get us started, I don't know, what did you guys log first? Josh, let's start with you.
Let me check.
I've seen a lot of shit these days. I've been watching a lot of rewatching.
Oh, should we talk about Spider-Verse? I don't know if we did it in the last
Holy
one.
shit, did we not talk about Spider-Verse in the
I
last
think
one?
you guys did, but I hadn't seen it yet. But we can talk about it again.
You left, I think, actually. And I think it was all non-spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man.
To be continued.
Yeah. To be continued. So, talking about Beyond the Spider-Verse. No. So, yeah, this is spoilers, by the way. Spoilers for a lot of the stuff that we're going to be talking about, obviously. Because that's how we do it. It's July. It's been a month.
It's that Mission Impossible for me.
Yeah. We're not.
Yeah, that we're not going to spoil.
Yeah. No. But, yeah, so like Indiana Jones, Spider-Verse, that kind of shit. Anyways, Across the Spider-Verse, fantastic. I've seen it 4 times now. My favorite movie of the year. I absolutely love this movie. It is impeccable. Animation's great. And the best thing about Spider-Verse is that like it's a sequel that manages to triumph against the first one. And the first one for me was like one of my all-time favorite movies in general. Like it was my favorite movie in 2018, Into the Spider-Verse. My favorite movie in 2018, probably my favorite comic book movie. Like I had it like Into the Spider-Verse and Logan were always in like a tier of their own for me, at least. Like, Into the Spider-Verse and Logan were my favorite superhero movies. And then for Across the Spider-Verse to come out and instantly like hook me just with like the dynamic between Miles and Gwen is like has so much more depth to it. So much delicious romance, which I love. And then angst too by the end. It's so great. But then the animations, of course, wildly improved. It's crazy because I saw Into the Spider-Verse, bits and pieces of it, the day I saw Across the Spider-Verse. And Into the Spider-Verse's animation is very good. It's excellent. But then when you go to watch Across the Spider-Verse, it's crazy.
There's so many different styles that they're playing with.
It's a different style, yeah. So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Like Miles' world looks different, but then of course, like you said, they go into Gwen's Earth 65 world, Mumbattan, they go to Nueva York, like Earth 42. So a lot of different styles I just loved. But yeah, the character moments were just like incredible. Of course I mentioned Spider-Man India was great, Hobie was great, like, and they're not just like cameos either. Just like the first film, they're really in line with Miles' arc about growth and Gwen's arc about finding a new team. So these characters are not just fulfilling like hey, that's a cool new Spider-Man. Like they're fulfilling the arcs of Miles and Gwen, who are kind of like the dual protagonists of the movie. So I just love that aspect about it as well. Yeah, just in general, I never wanted this movie to end. When it was nearing the end, I was like, okay, keep on going. I know it probably has to end here with the whole like Miles meeting Miles that we now know is Miles G. Morales. When he met him, I'm like, okay, this is probably where we're gonna settle down for the movie. But yeah, I never wanted this movie to end. It was fantastic. Seen it 4 times. I love it. Might go a 5th time if I have time. It's great.
Yeah. Personally, I think here's the thing. Like upon first
4.5?
watch, it was a 4.5 upon first watch. I think it left too much hanging at the end. It was a great ending. Yes, I won't take away. Like this movie is gorgeous and the animation is gorgeous and everything about it is really fresh and creative. But I think it very much felt like a part 1 to me, like similar to Dune and Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, which we've had a trend of part 1s.
It's fine. It's cool. It's fine.
But yeah, besides that, like everything about this movie, animation wise and like set piece wise, is definitely an improvement above Into the Spider-Verse. But I don't think it has the emotional highs that movie has, personally.
Ooh.
Yeah, same as Josh. I gave it like a 4.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. But like, I really like this movie. I've only seen it once, so maybe my
Edgar, fake fan.
Hey, I never claimed to be. But like, but maybe on a second viewing, I would rank it to 5. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I did. It definitely quits a bit more on rewatch.
But like the thing for me when I was watching it, like, I really like the story arc that they're setting up. I really like how everything like unravels. I really like how, like, even though I haven't seen it for a second time, I can tell that when you go back and watch it, there's certain things that are gonna hit you even more, like the whole set piece in India. Like that entire set piece is very important to what's eventually gonna at least happen probably in part 2 for Miles and his like canon event or whatever you want to call it. Like I understand that, all of that, but like I did feel the runtime at times with this movie, and like I might get like some fucking hate for saying this, but like I really enjoy it. I think it serves a lot of purpose in her arc in the movie, but like I didn't really felt like it was necessary for us to see all of the Spider-Gwen stuff at the beginning all over again. I understand like from her Peter dying and how that affects her relationship with her dad. That I get. That's fine. That's cool. But like revisiting everything from like point A, like it felt like almost kind of like overkill. Like we had already seen this part of her storyline into the Spider-Verse. It's like it just felt like it's not bad. It doesn't take anything away from the movie, but it just felt like a little bit of fat that you could maybe like trim to make the movie a little bit tighter, at least for me. That's
like
how
padding, basically.
Yeah. But yeah, like this movie is great. This movie is incredible. I can't wait to watch it. I already pre-ordered the Blu-ray, the 4K, so I'm excited to rewatch it a second time. But yeah, I think my main issue with the movie is that at times I did feel like the runtime. I did feel a little bit too long, at least for me.
That's fair. Yeah, I'm waiting to pre-order the Blu-ray / whatever it comes out, because the cover for the Blu-ray was like that weird one.
It's weird. The steelbook is like has the art that wasn't in the final cut.
Exactly. So I'm waiting to see if there's different BS Target editions or something like that that they might do. But yeah, I love the Gwen stuff for me. Because especially with like Into the Spider-Verse, we get a little bit about Gwen, but it's all told by Gwen via Miles's like interpretation of what's going on with her. That's why some of the scenes look different. But I do think some of the scenes with her are pivotal. Like with the Gwen talking to her dad, probably the best scene in the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Among other fantastic scenes. When Gwen's back, when she got kicked out of the Spider Society, and she's back talking to her dad. And is like
the animation in those sequences are so good.
It's so good.
The color palettes.
To have the color like change with each emotion was fantastic. And I'm a huge Spider-Gwen comic fan, and they decided to go with the colors that are just like the colors in her comic book covers as well, which is very, very cool. But yeah, when she's talking to her dad about like, I wear this suit because just like you wear the badge, I want to kind of uphold your values. So when her dad leaves her, she feels like she's lost without a paddle, basically. And it's kind of the same thing with Miles, where Miles' parents are saying, like, be true to who you are. Well, for Gwen, being true to who she is being true to who her dad is. So losing that kind of factor was very important. The whole family, it kind of goes into the whole family dynamic in this movie, which is all about like parentage with Miles's parents, like trying to keep their faith in him, even though they don't know 100% about what's going on in his life. They don't know that he's Spider-Man. And that's fair that his like Miles's arc kind of isn't super fulfilled because he doesn't tell his real parents about like that he is that Spider-Man. So I can't wait for that scene in Beyond the Spider-Verse. But I do think like him delivering that speech, even though it's not his mom, but to Earth 42 Rio was still fulfilling for Miles' arc because he comes to be as confident in himself as he can be and fully aware that like he can do this by himself. He can do this on his own, even though he does need a team. And then what was I going to say? Like Miguel's also a father, also a parent who lost everything. So it's a different kind of parentage dynamic thing. I think that was very cool though, how every individual had like a good parent symbolism there. Even Peter B. Parker has his own daughter now. But overall, yeah, I just love all the character dynamics here. The Spot, which is a very interesting villain. When he was rumored, I was like, oh, he's gonna be fantastic because just animation wise, his abilities to teleport through dimensions and through reality is just it makes a lot of sense for Spider-Verse movies. But what they did with him, making him more of a comedic relief in the first act and then progressing into a more demented and tragic kind of figure, was very interesting. Great performance by
Jason Schwartzman was great.
Jason Schwartzman,
as
yeah.
Spot, yeah.
He was fantastic. So I can't wait
I
to
think
see
it's
what
brilliant
happens
casting too, because like going in, you'd think it's more of a comedic performance and like more of a role that's like a secondary villain, but the way they switched it made it like the big bad of the trilogy is really good.
It's fantastic. Like, I just want to rob you. Come on, let me rob you. All the way to like, see you back home, Miles. Like, oh shit, you get chills. So I'm excited. Hopefully he doesn't die. I'm thinking because there was this one Twitter thread, whatever, not threads, but it's one Twitter thread going around about like, what are your predictions for Beyond the Spider-Verse? And people are like, Rio's dead, Spot's
I mean,
dying.
your tweet was like way too optimistic.
No, I don't think it is. Like, I think most people associate Spider-Man with like, oh, somebody has to die. I think Raimi's.
It's about tragedy. That's what the character is about.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
Miguel, sure, for Miguel, yeah, but like
Peter.
I think the Sony live action ones ruined us. That Spider-Man's all tragedy. Like every movie, somebody dies in those live action movies. But in the Spider-Verse, I think they're going a more optimistic route. I don't think Rio's dying. That's like X-Nay, not gonna happen. The Spot's gonna be redeemed. Spider-Man loves to redeem his villains, just like in No Way Home. Like he's gonna redeem his villains. Miguel is not dying because why are we gonna punish Miguel for doing things that he's like traumatized about? Like, come on. I think we're all gonna have a good happy ever after.
No.
And we're all gonna have a good ending, Bob. There we go. No sacrifices. Stop it. No sacrifice. I hate sacrifice.
You don't want Gwen to sacrifice herself?
No, stop it. I would walk out of the theater if Gwen.
Yeah, that would be bad.
I would walk out, but she'll be back. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, nope, not gonna happen, Bob.
I will say one more last thing about Across the Spider-Verse that I absolutely adore is that we get to see more of that relationship between Miles and his family. Like that dynamic is really well. That entire sequence at the party on the rooftop is just like so like human. Like there's just so much emotion there between those three characters, and the voice performance just nails it out of the park.
Yeah, fantastic. I love that scene. It's like, yeah, look at the cake. It's like, I'm not proud. It's like, oh, that's not what it said. So yeah, it's great dynamic. And yeah, in the first movie, we really got a strong dynamic between Jeff and Miles, but this one really cemented that Rio had a fantastic dynamic with Miles in this movie. And I can't wait to see it continued with especially like when we get like the Prowler, who's going to be a vigilante as well. Also, who I hope doesn't die in Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Do we think Donald Glover is to be back in MCU?
Who knows?
Probably not.
He's on IMDb. He's listed as MCU Prowler.
MCU Prowler. Good job by IMDb. I'll change it when I get home.
Maybe Spider-Man 4, but I don't know.
Yeah, probably. I mean, Spider-Man 4, it probably is a street level villain, so they could probably work it in if they really wanted to. But there's so much stuff that they just dropped in the Spider-Man movies, like who owns the building, what happened to Scorpion. It's like it's some weird shit. But
yeah,
does Kevin Feige even know? Probably not.
Was that your guys'
Where's
first
Shang-Chi 2? That's what I wanna know.
2026, 2028.
Fuck.
Was that your guys' like first log of the month for both of you?
Oh, yeah. I didn't look at my log specifically.
Mine was
Probably
Into
so.
the Spider-Verse. Then I watched it right before Across the Spider-Verse. So
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Which one?
You want to know what was my first log of the month?
What?
Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen.
Oh, Revenge of the Fallen.
Wow.
Which one is this one? 3, 2?
2, the racist one, the most racist one.
Are they all racist?
But this one's like
Bumblebee's not really racist. Is Rise
Uh,
of the Beast racist?
Racist
Not
abuse.
really.
Not really. I mean, there's some jokes there that are very Michael Bay, but
There's like one big Michael Bay joke in there, like when they get to Puerto Rico or whatever it is.
I mean, there's a lot of other ones. But anyway, Transformers. So I watched all of these movies, all 5 movies,
yeah.
plus Bumblebee, plus Rise of the Beast.
Edgar's ass over here on Twitter giving these movies 5 stars, revisiting it like he's some kind of
Transformers
Michael Bay.
is 5 stars. The original
No.
2007 is 5 stars.
You and Josh, what is happening? Josh,
Me? Why are you letting me into this?
Fast 10, 5 stars. You're not
Okay,
you're not
Fast 10's
having it.
good.
Oh my god.
This man.
Then Transformers 1, which I think is the best Transformers of the OG, whatever that
Yeah.
was, series. I think that's the best one. It had like the most Michael Bay restraint, but also you could see like the beginning.
The beginning of all the shows that will make these movies unbearable. Yeah.
making his parents like semi-main characters in some of these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just so much fat in those movies that you're just like questioning yourself. At times, what's the point of life in some of those movies?
They get combined in my head a lot. So you saw Revenge of the Fallen as your first one in June here. Is this the one where they like
Go to the desert.
The desert one with this?
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool scene.
Here's the thing about those movies is that I'm watching them and I was like, first of all, I was fucking exhausted in some of them. I like the first one and 3 fine. The rest are a little bit unbearable. But like, I'm watching Revenge of the Fallen, and I'm like, there's no fucking way you can blame the writer's strike for some of the shit you wrote in this movie. like the whole fucking Decepticons humping Megan Fox's leg.
Wow, I forgot that.
I forgot about that.
The twins, obviously the infamous twins, Autobots. Here's a funny thing that I noticed.
Twins, right?
Yeah,
Those
here's
were
something that I noticed about these movies after rewatching all of them. You know how first of all, you know how Michael Bay is always like criticized for being like super like pro-military and all that shit, but but I'm watching these movies and I'm like, if he's like so pro-military, why does all of the villains are military vehicles? That's A. And then B, like all of the Autobots, which are supposed to be the good guys, all of those are the guys that have all the racist stereotypes. So it's all such confusing messages in the characterization of the fucking Transformers. But anyway,
and the armies are mostly idiots, right? Like the government are usually in the wrong when they're tracking after the spark or the cube, whatever shit it is, the seed.
Isn't John Turturro in these movies too? Or in this one?
Is he in every one? Yeah, I keep seeing GIFs.
All of them except for.
Which one is the one where like the GIF that keeps going around where he puts on the glasses? He's like, time to see.
Oh, that's the third one. That's the good
one.
That's the good one.
The good one. Okay.
It's a good one. What do you want me to do? It influenced the MCU.
Influenced the MCU. How?
Yeah, that third act is like fucking. It's a banger.
Also,
like I feel like Transformers 3 like kind of like takes a step back in all of the fucking shenanigans that you're used to in these movies, because like you can kind of tell that Michael Bay like kind of restrained himself with all of his fast cuttings and all of not being able to tell who is what when their fucking robots are fighting, because like that movie I'm pretty sure was shot in 3D because basically James Cameron convinced him to after Avatar, so that's why like it's a little bit more bearable, especially the action sequences. But yeah, these movies, some of them are fucking trash and some of them are very entertaining, sometimes for the wrong reasons, but they're still
I still have not seen Last Night because Extinction killed me.
That movie
is Last Night the one with
the worst one, the fucking worst one.
Yeah, that one's bad.
And it's not even the longest one, but it feels like the longest one because first of all, it's basically all just Mark Wahlberg and Anthony Hopkins running around.
That's like the World War II one or the Nazi one,
The
or what they
Nazis,
do?
That's
yeah.
that's the Nazi one. That's the medieval one. That's the space one. Yeah.
I
And
did
it's
see a cool clip on YouTube. I think I was watching like Mr. Sunday movies or something. Like when they like at the very end, there's like a gravity thing. Is that the same movie?
yeah, that's the same movie
That's a
where
pretty cool sequence.
and like you watch those movies and you watch the set pieces. Like the score is really good. Obviously, the VFX fucking rock.
Yeah.
Arguably, those movies from a visual standpoint look better than the newer ones that most people like. Like everything from a technical standpoint, they're great. Like if you just put like maybe like you pick like the best 15 minutes of each movie, you would think, oh, this movie's probably pretty good. But then you watch the whole thing and
Everything
you're like,
else.
oh, yeah. But like,
That's
yeah,
funny.
the last night is just fucking unbearable. Like it feels like 5 movies put together in one, and that's because that's what happened. Because you know how back in the day, like in 2016, 15, they put like a writer's room to make the Transformers universe,
Yep.
and one group came up with like a medieval Transformers movie, one came up with like a modern like Merlin movie, another one with a Nazi movie, and basically Michael Bay came in the room and like, I'm gonna make
Let's
all of them
do it
in
all.
one.
Yeah. And they're like, fuck. Yeah. That all being said, Edgar, what were your thoughts on Rise of the Beast? That was my second long thing.
Before that, I did watch Bumblebee
Okay.
Bumblebee's
Oh,
great.
sweet. Yeah, let's talk about Bumblebee.
because I was trying to watch Rise of the Beast, but I never did.
Sweet
And I
little
didn't want to
movie.
watch any of the Bay ones because they're not good.
No.
But Bumblebee is fucking great. Like on a rewatch, that movie hits really hard, and especially the moments between Haley Steinfeld and Bumblebee, like they're very much Spielberg-esque, like basically ripped from ET, but it still works really well.
I have the Blu-ray, but I just have not revisited Bumblebee. But I remember loving
It's
it.
great.
That's why. Yeah. But am I wrong? Dylan O'Brien, is he Bumblebee in this?
Yeah,
He
the first
voices
like
in
5
there.
minutes. Yeah.
First 5 minutes? Yeah. Tragic. But I remember Dylan O'Brien being in there. I was like, oh, he's pretty good for.
That's something like a very bizarre thing that kind of like stuck with this franchise. The fact that Bumblebee doesn't speak, even though at the end of the first movie they fix it, but then they just go back to it.
I
Really?
think, yeah.
Yeah, they
That's
fix it
weird.
at the end.
It is cool how they do it in Bumblebee, like with the radio and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. They've done a pretty good job with that. I think it's a gag now that it kind of just like the audience expects, I guess.
Yeah, it's a funny gag, but it can get a little bit old and sometimes even
Yeah.
like frustrating because sometimes you can't even tell what he's saying because it's so
No.
fast.
Yeah, you can't tell what he's saying. This happened in Rise of the Beast sometimes, where it's just jokes from other movies, and then
Which is bizarre because it's from the radio.
yeah,
Not-
I'm like, is he just sitting there like watching whatever? Anyways, but yeah, I love Bumblebee as well. Haley Steinfeld is easily the best like main character of the franchise. Really like she emotes a lot of great scenes with Bumblebee. And then John Cena's in this. He's solid. He's fine.
great.
He's
really
He's not that
good.
great.
He's great.
I didn't love him in this movie, but
He was forgettable in this one.
it was the beginning. He's the main villain.
Exactly.
Evan,
It
we're
was-
gonna spoil
yeah.
the ending of Rise of the Beast for Josh in a bit because it's fucking bizarre how
Yeah.
the movie
it's
ends.
wild.
The
it
post credit scene.
No, the
Yeah.
ending of the movie.
which kind of is a post credit scene. It could have in any Marvel movie. It would have been a post credit.
The post credit scene should have been the ending, and the ending should
Yeah.
have been the post credit scene.
Exactly. Yeah, it's hard to explain.
Wait, are you talking about the way it ties into like another franchise?
Yes.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
But yeah, overall, Bumblebee, slick action. Oh yeah, doesn't Bumblebee start off with the whole
Cybertron.
Cybertron stuff, which is
Really cool.
Bring me back to one of my favorite PS3 games was War for Cybertron. That was
I
a
love
cool
Fall
game.
for Cybertron. The sequel is great.
Fall for Cybertron's lit too. Like I used to love those games, even though getting the platinum trophy was impossible because they prioritized getting online trophies, and getting online trophies is dumb. Anyways,
One last thing about Bumblebee and
Sure.
a connection that I want to make to the first movie with Michael Bay. It really does feel like they took the I don't know if it was like an initial idea for the first Transformers movies. I doubt it, but like you watch that first movie and like Megan Fox should really be the main character in that movie, and fucking Shia LaBeouf should be the sidekick because not only is she the only one in that movie that has an actual character arc but like she's the one that actually has skills. She's the one who actually kind of like does anything. She plays more of a pivotal role in the third act, trying to like navigate Bumblebee into like the final battle of the movie. Like she should have been the main character of those fucking movies from the beginning, and it feels like they tried to correct that with Bumblebee, and it works because that's what they should have done from the beginning.
Well, that's a take. I never really.
I don't remember the Bay ones enough to like.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all. But I mean, I think at the time, if you're a studio exec, you're betting on
It's a boys cartoon. It's a Cars cartoon.
Especially in like late 2000s.
Yeah. That's probably the case too. But what I was going to say is like, who are you betting on to act and to control a whole movie? Megan Fox or Shia LaBeouf? At the time,
even Stevens and Holes is Shia LaBeouf.
Exactly. Holes is lit. You probably could bet on Shia than Megan. But yeah, Megan's good though. She was good in the first one, and she has a couple movies that are actually pretty.
She was great in that. I know Edgar watched it. Till Death, I think it's called.
Till Death, yeah, it's really
2021. Really Cat Mouse thriller.
It honestly fucking sucks that her career just went off the rails after Spielberg fired her from those movies.
Wait, Spielberg fired her?
Yeah, it wasn't Bay, it was him. It was Spielberg.
Why?
Because she said something like not
thing, right?
Yeah, and she didn't say anything like anti-Semitic. She just compared working with Michael Bay to like Hitler, and like he's the one who made the call to Bay like fire her like on the spot. Like that's why that third movie is so weird, because I forgot her name, but Rosie, the actress that comes in, like her character is basically Michaela. she gets the character arc, the job that Michaela should have gotten in at the end of that trilogy. But
is Megan Fox's character's name Michaela?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
context clues, Josh.
Yeah.
Another point. It should have been her, the main character, because that's basically the female version of Michael Bay.
Whoa.
Wow.
But yeah, like it just feels very weird, like that third movie, like they fired her very last minute. That's why that movie just feels like very disjointed from that romantic standpoint.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, I remember the previews being like, "Where's Megan?" But anyways, yeah. So Rise of the Beast. I actually really liked this movie. I had a fun time with Rise of the Beast. I think I liked it more than most. It's not perfect at all, no. But I liked Noah, who was played by Anthony Ramos. I liked what they tried to do. It's not super successful, but at least like I wasn't bored by his scenes.
Yeah.
I liked his scenes with his family, especially with his brother. They had a fun, maybe because I have a brother of my own, but they had a fun brother dynamic. I kind of thought that was very sweet. And then his dynamic with Pete Davidson's, what's his name?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Dominic Fishback, but
oh yeah, that was not that great. But what's the name of the Transformer? His best buddy, Pete Davidson. Mirage. There we go. Mirage was fantastic. Probably Pete Davidson's best role next to Set It Up. I love Set It Up. He's great in Set It Up.
Wait, he's in this?
Yeah. He's the main character, semi-main character. He's Mirage. He's great. I thought his voice acting was really, really, really good.
Oh, he's like the main one. Wait, main robot or main.
The one that transforms at the end of the trailer.
Yeah, that one. And if you don't know, now you know. Oh god,
it was all a dream.
It was all a dream. Oh god, that was bad. It didn't get bad, but it was close. But either way, I thought Mirage was great. His dynamic with Noah was really awesome. Optimus, I liked Optimus. It's like
fucking more murderous cycle.
One of my main complaints about the Bay movies is that Optimus is full-on murder psychopath in a lot of the Bay movies. This one, yes, he does get there, but I liked it. He had more of a reason in this one because something tragic happens at the beginning, and then he's pissed. In the Bay ones, it's all just like, I'm going to take your head. Yeah, I'm just going to fuck you, Megatron. It's like, whoa, like, where did this come from? But, I liked what they were trying to do with Optimus and Noah here. They kind of had, like, dual thematic arcs here about, like, not trusting humans, not trusting the robots, Autobots, and then both having to realize that they both need each other by the end. The third act does, get your gray sky laser in the sky.
The fucking suit that they put on Anthony Ramos, awful.
Awful. It's not great, Bob, but I had fun with it. It was a really
what suit?
Like,
basically, eventually, like in the third act, like it doesn't really happen.
He becomes a Transformer.
Yeah, because Pete Davidson's Transformer dies, and he like passes his like thing or
Dies.
whatever
Yeah.
dies. That's what I'm saying, dies. And he passes like some fucking suit to Anthony Ramos, and then he becomes a Transformer himself, like a tiny Transformer.
Like,
That's good.
it's goofy as hell, but it's lit. When I'm watching it in the theater, I'm like, it's pretty cool. It's pretty damn cool.
I will say though, this movie so far in any theater experience that I had in 2023, people went crazy when Bumblebee came back because he dies at the beginning.
Really?
This was a Thor Infinity. My theater went crazy. Like, yeah, this.
Wait,
was
he
Thor
dies in the
Infinity
beginning of the
War.
movie?
Yeah, like the main bad guy, who's a really good voice actor, by the way. I don't know his
Peter
name.
Dinklage.
Oh, that's Peter Dinklage. Wow.
Really? Huh.
You know, I remembered that, then I completely forgot it. Because it did not sound like Peter Dinklage at all. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he kills Bumblebee's character by taking away his like.
Is he still voiced by? Oh, wait,
part.
He doesn't have a voice there, man.
No, yeah, it's all like radio and movie quotes. And then when he comes back, he jumps out of the helicopter, like you see in the trailers. He jumps out of the helicopter, and then they play like the champ. What do they play? Like the King is back, something like that.
Yeah.
And
everybody went crazy, and I was surprised that everybody went nuts.
The crowd goes nuts. It's fun. It's cool. So yeah, it's a very hype like kind of movie. Like I got hyped a lot. I wish they did a lot more with Dominique Fishback's character. Like,
yeah, she's kind of just there.
She's kind of there, even though she's pivotal plot wise. Like, hey, she's a character with the knowledge. She knows what's going on here,
and she's solid with what she's given. But
exactly, she's solid. But like her character dynamics weren't as strong. Like I thought they were going to do something more cool between her and Noah, but they don't really share anything meaningful at all. But yeah, she's just there. She's solid. She's Dominique Fishback. She's great. But yeah, Edgar. But then the end of this movie,
wild.
So
one of the most nothing things that I've seen in a movie, probably, because it's not even exciting. Like, so the movie ends with Anthony Ramos going to a job interview, and it turns out that the job interview, the person that's interviewing is a government official who works for this super secret company or whatever, like department of the
Hasbro.
But basically, and it turns out that it's G.I. Joe, but like the scene ends with like, so they're like in this like meeting room or whatever, and the walls open, and it shows like this hangar, but like there's nothing in the hangar. It's not hyping, nothing in the hangar. It's empty. Like what are we supposed to get hyped for?
It's weird because you expected it to be like, a G.I. Joe walking around,
Snake Eye, something.
Yeah,
or The Rock shows up.
It's literally some kind of like conveyor belt bullshit. I'm just like, cool.
Does it have the G.I. Joe logo or anything, or just like do they say it?
Like they say the words G.I. Joe, and the crowd goes crazy. Like, oh, they said G.I. Joe. We love G.I. Joe.
And the guy gives Anthony Ramos like a business card, and he turns it around, and it says G.I. Joe.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, it turned around like the classic Easter egg business card move. But the funny thing was, like, the person introducing the G.I. Joe stuff was Michael Kelly, who's been in a ton of TV shows and movies. But the crowd went crazy when Michael Kelly showed up, and I'm like,
who?
He's on Jack Ryan. He's been in a ton of TV. I can't specifically think of anything else he's been in, but like I know him from a lot of TV shows and movies over the years. But the crowd went crazy when he showed up, and I'm like, is he in the other G.I. Joe movies or something? Am I missing something? But then when he says G.I. Joe and the business card thing, then people go even crazier.
I'll be right back.
But yeah, okay. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm like, okay, interesting. But you know what? I haven't seen the movie. I like Stephen Cable Jr. I thought it was a fine direction. I think he did a little bit better on Creed 2. But I like what he did with this movie. I thought it was pretty serviceable. I'm on board for what he does next, if he does the G.I. Joe Transformers crossover. I'm pretty confident this time around. Now, granted, Hasbro has been notoriously awful at adapting G.I. Joe to screen, in live action at least.
They did it twice.
Snake Eyes is...
Oh, yeah, 3 times.
3 times that, yes. Snake Eyes is pretty boring. It's not awful, but it's boring and just like... It's not as cool as like the trailers mentioned.
The best thing that they've ever done with the property is that like sequence in the one with the Rock where Snake Eyes is like climbing the mountain and like that's fucking cool. That should have been really Snake Eyes.
I love that scene. But you know, growing up, I had a huge huge fascination with the first G.I. Joe movie. I had fun with that growing up. I used to watch that all the time.
What a weird little movie. Joseph Gordon-Levitt just shows up.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt just shows up as Cobra. Channing Tatum's trying his best. It's really weird. But I had fun with it as a kid. Revisiting it, not great.
Also, like the suits in that movie in Paris, they're very similar to the ones in this movie.
Yeah, that's probably where they got it from. Yeah. And then seeing the sequel with The Rock, I'm like, they killed all Channing Tatum in the first 5 minutes. What the hell they're watching?
He said, "I'm done."
It's so weird. And then the Rock one is like fine. It's not great. So they just can't do G.I. Joe on screen. So maybe if they combine it, if the G.I. Joe are the human characters in the next Transformers movie, and then you have Transformers with this, it could be fine. It could be cool. I don't know. I'm optimistic now after seeing Rise of the Beast, but I don't know if it's going to fully succeed. Because, I don't know.
Yeah, I do think it's funny that one of the biggest criticisms about the Michael Bay movies is the military propaganda, and then people go crazy for G.I. Joe, which is just military propaganda.
Yeah. Hey, but it's cool military propaganda. Does the military have snake eyes? I don't think so. So, yeah.
Wait, totally forgot the Snake Eyes movie was fun.
Yep. Everybody forgot about it.
Yeah. Snake Eyes was the best movie of that year, whenever it came out.
Yeah. Anyway, what's next? The Flash?
I saw the Boogeyman in between the Flash.
Ooh, the Boogeyman.
I didn't like it as much as other people did. I thought it was fine, but it's probably my least favorite horror movie of the year so far. Wow. I could not connect with the movie. Like, for some, I like what they're setting up, the psychological trauma that Sophie Thatcher is going through. Sophie Thatcher is fantastic. I like the psychological trauma that she's going through with the loss of somebody dear to her. I guess we can spoil this one. But like her mom dies off screen earlier in the movie. And the family is really trying to deal with that. I thought she was really good. Chris Messina, who's having a hell of a year, really good as well. But for some reason, I couldn't connect with the family dynamic. The monster effects at the end were very cool. But I felt like I was just getting bored throughout the entire movie. And then by the end sequence, it didn't live up to what they were slowly building to in terms of like the haunting nightmare of the Beast itself. Like the Beast looked cool, but the final, I don't know, set piece scene that whatever you say, it just didn't live up to like the haunting nature that they were building up towards, for me at least. I compare it to like the slow build in Smile. I thought that worked a lot better in terms of like that final
Smile
scene.
Is much better. Yeah.
That final scene in the house in Smile kind of worked better than the final scene in the house in this movie. I thought the lights and stuff was really cool. Rob Savage's direction was very cool with the lights and shadows and stuff like that. Very creative.
Vivian Lyra Blair also really did too.
Oh yeah, she's a little sister. Yeah. She was really cool. But yeah, there's certain like tropes I just didn't like about this movie. The whole bullying thing, take it away.
Yeah. I do think this movie might have suffered a little bit from the fact that it's a short story. The short story starts and ends with what's the actor's name? David Dastmalchian. I don't know how you pronounce it. Yeah, that the short story is just him visiting the guy at his house for the therapy session, and it ends with him like being murdered by this entity, and it just ends like that. So
fascinating.
The rest of the movie with the daughters, all of that is added up. Is original stuff to the movie.
Is this the first? There's been another Boogeyman movie out there, right?
I mean, probably not related to the Stephen King novel, but I could be wrong.
Okay. But I mean, speaking of that, David Dastmalchian, he's great in everything. I thought he was a really cool semi-cameo.
Great in Quantumania.
Is he the
guy who lets holes?
Oh boy, yeah, he is the holes guy. Oh no. Not Shia LaBeouf holes.
Nope.
But yeah, for me, I was just like, it was fine. It was fine. I didn't hate it, but it was okay for me.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the first episode of Movie Idol.
Oh,
you were one of those 900,000 people.
I watched the first episode and completely fell off because it's not good.
Not good.
Surprise, surprise. It's not good.
I had a friend who watched the whole thing, and she was like, "It's not even like sexy, right? Like you bill it as sexy, but when the dialogue's rough and like the actors aren't given it all, it's not even sexy. So like, what is your main appeal here?
Yeah.
Like, it's weird.
I haven't seen the show, but it felt like a really good opportunity to make this like a good old fashioned '90s erotic thriller set with the Hollywood like background, and it just, again, I haven't seen it, but it just doesn't seem like it's that.
I think the original version was supposed to be like about like more from the female perspective, and it probably would have been more of an erotic thriller. But The Weeknd and Sam Levinson came in and ruined it.
Yeah.
Erotic thriller from a female perspective, that would never work. Like, what?
Well, Amy Sinetz was the showrunner for.
Yeah, it was gonna be definitely more different. Like just like a couple of days ago, they came up with like behind the scenes photos of like them shooting like her background of Lily Rose,
the child actor,
child actor and all that stuff. It seemed interesting, but again, like it kind of feels like a Big Little Lies season 2 situation.
Oh God. One of my least favorite second seasons of anything I've ever watched. That second season was trash.
Season 1 is like one of my favorite shows ever, and then
amazing.
Yeah.
The second season is like
it's still entertaining, but it's bad.
No, it's not. I
don't think it's terrible, but
I remember calling my dad after every episode. I'm like, Dad, what are we watching? that finale when they Seinfelded us. They just walk into jail. I'm like, this is bullshit. It was bad. And then what they gave Zoe Kravitz in the final season. Oh man,
that's been good.
Pissed. Yeah. Anyway,
Lily Rose Depp is pretty good in that first episode, but The Weeknd's horrible and the writing is terrible.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully Lily Rose Depp can, climb out of this. And
she's in Nosferatu, right? She's whatever it's pronounced.
What?
The Robert Eggers next movie.
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu.
Oh God.
Completely different things.
Nosferatu. I knew Nosferatu off of the SpongeBob joke, and then I just I looked him up. Nosferatu. Anyways, yeah. I mean, it's always gonna be a bummer that we're not gonna get Anya and Edgar's back again.
It's Lily Rose and who? Who's the other?
Lily Rose.
Bill Skarsgård, right?
Bill Skarsgård. Yeah.
Interesting pairing.
Dracula himself. But I'm still super hyped for that because it's Eggers. And he's better than Astor. I mean,
Northman is so good.
Yeah, Northman's great. Northman's so raw. So yeah, you saw that, Josh. That kind of took me by surprise because I thought nobody here watched that, but I forgot about you.
Morals.
Hey, it was the first episode. I was interested.
What else? Did we jump to the Flash?
We could. I mean, I can just quickly mention some of the stuff that I watched at the Tribeca Film Festival.
Yeah, sure.
First one was Breaking the News. It was a documentary about the formation of this female-led LGBTQ plus journalists. It's the site is called the 19th after the 19th Amendment.
Sweet.
It's a really good documentary, and I really like that it doesn't really sugarcoat the fact that it's a very difficult industry to work in. Even people that work within that site, the 19th, people that are in the LGBT community, they acknowledge that it's slightly better than what they've worked at in the past, but it's still it's the bare minimum. There's still more space for it to grow, in terms of inclusivity and all that stuff. So I really like that. It's one of my favorite movies of the year just because it feels like a very honest and in the moment kind of documentary. It kind of takes you through the Trump and Biden debate, so that's kind of fun to see the reactions. But yeah. And then I saw also Marinette, biopic, the sports soccer women's player. It's really good, really solid. It feels very rushed. I think the movie is barely 90 minutes, so it feels like it tackles a lot, the childhood, her going through her teenage years, womanhood, and all in just that very condensed amount of time. It kind of makes it work, but again, it feels kind of rushed.
And that was called Marionette. You said that was called?
Yeah, Marionette. And I interviewed the cinematographer of that movie, so you can check that out. A lot of reviews. Another one was an animated movie, Deep Sea. really gorgeous movie. Again,
I read this one. Yeah.
yeah. What my main complaint with the movie is that like the whole movie is about like this little girl trying to reconnect with her absent mother, but like the movie kind of just forgets about that storyline in the second act, and it kind of remembers it at the very end. So it kind of feels a little bit disjointed, but again, still very good. Maggie Moore's with what's his face, John Hamm.
This is the only one I've heard of from Tribeca.
Yeah, that's yeah. For me, it's like very mediocre movie. It tries to be this like crime thriller, but also like a rom-com kind of like movie, and it just doesn't work. And lastly, To My Father, the short biopic-ish documentary from Troy Kotsur from Coda, really fit, 25-minute short. So whenever that comes out, I recommend watching it because it's really really sweet. And we can jump to The Flash if you want to now.
I don't want to. It's it's a movie.
I was going to see it last night for this. I was trying to bring myself to watch it.
Yeah, it's fine. Catch it on Max.
I didn't want to sit through.
Can we talk spoilers?
Oh.
Yeah, we'll do non-spoilers still.
I mean, do you want to talk about?
I mean, nothing really happens,
right? Yeah, it's like it's not a lot of. If you saw Flashpoint, it's Flashpoint, but like without the a lot of the extra good.
What's this in non-spoilers, so we don't have to.
Yeah.
We'll do,
for a while. Non-spoilers. I think non-spoiler wise, I think it's a decent half-baked kind of movie
it's a skeleton of a movie.
It sets up some interesting dynamics, interesting themes that just don't have the emotional payoff.
The last scene that you have with the whole point of the movie, and this is in the trailers, is like Barry trying to like save his mom from dying. And like there's a very last scene between those two characters that's very emotionally charged. They're acting their asses off in that sequence, but it doesn't feel earned because
I don't feel anything.
I don't care.
Yeah. I don't care. The journey to get there is just too muddled for me. I think a lot of the good stuff in this movie is in the first act. The baby scene has been all over Twitter, but I actually didn't mind it when I was in the theater. I thought it was pretty fun. It's really out there and it's really crazy, but it's a comic book movie, so it's not the craziest thing I've seen in a comic book movie. I thought it was really well. It was a really cool Flash, an example of like what the Flash can do. I thought that was a very fun sequence. The effects with the Flash stuff in the beginning of the movie were really cool. Some scenes with Ben Affleck, really good as well. It makes me miss that like Ben Affleck's never really got the chance to really flesh out his Batman persona.
Painful at the very last scene that he gets in this universe.
I know. Yeah, he says a line. I don't spoil it, but it's like it's very like sad. I'm just like, damn.
Like a double meaning kind of sad.
Yeah, it's a double meaning kind of thing. It's like, dang, what could have been if it wasn't for all the DC WB chaos. But also like one of the small light moments of this movie is that like the scene between Iris and Barry were pretty damn good. Like, me, I'm a huge. I have a huge connection to like these romantic kind of scenes, and they're setting up some like rom-com energy between Barry and Iris in the beginning,
and then push it to the side immediately.
And then just put it to the side. I'm like, oh, this was what. If you can just give me, an Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Barry and Iris, right? Like, I would have accepted that because even in Amazing Spider-Man 2, there's a lot of like emotional payoff with their relationship.
Yeah, I feel like you could have still make your like Back to the Future trying to fix the timeline storyline still work, but like it focuses too much on like stupid stuff that doesn't affect the plot or the character arcs whatsoever or the themes.
The whole advent of like the second Barry for me really was just like it was a bit much. Their dynamic in general isn't as like again like other dynamics in this movie. It's not fully fulfilling like between Barry and the other Barry. It's just like it's not as meaningful or emotional as they want us to believe. So yeah, it was just a lot of it was just felt very hollow, which I'm going to say a lot for an upcoming June movie that we'll talk about. And then Sasha Calle is great for the 5 minutes that she's in this movie.
She promoted the entire movie on her own, and she's barely in it.
$1 million raise.
Wait, she's barely in it?
She's barely in it.
For how long?
8 minutes tops.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, she's like in every shot of the trailer.
Yeah, and even like
That's half
8
her
minutes
routines.
seems long. But
Yeah.
Wild.
I mean, yeah, we're being generous with 8 minutes because yeah. But like she's great, but then again with the character dynamics, like her dynamic, her motivations, her themes, her like feelings are connected with Barry, but they're not really like their dynamic isn't really fleshed
her
out.
storyline should have been introduced earlier in the second
Yes.
act, and so you can like parallel those storylines, build into the third act, and that third act like feeling a little bit more meaningful. But again, it's just a misinterpretation.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Exactly. I think if she was introduced earlier, what they were trying to say about her and like how she was moved by Barry could have worked a lot better if she's introduced earlier and her through line has a chance to grow. The way it is now is just like boom, 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 then things happen. Michael Shannon does not want to be there, and it shows.
Michael Keaton doesn't want to be there either.
Yeah, it's funny because Edgar and I, we watched, check out our Man of Steel commentary that we did on this channel. And Sheridan rocks in that movie. He's fantastic.
He's having the time of his life in that movie, and here,
it's just
he's like, I guess.
Yeah, come on. Like he delivers like this big reveal, and it's just like
nothing.
It
seems like he read it out of his phone.
Yeah, it's like, and this is yeah, like he's like reading out of a book. Not great, Bob. But yeah, Michael Keaton is like, he's Keaton, but it's like I've seen Keaton better in the movies like American Assassin, right? Like he's better in other low budget movies, and this one he's just like delivering zingers and one liners and not being smart.
Nuts. Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts.
Line reading in the trailer sounds so depressing.
It's similar to this one, even though it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be triumphant, I think. And then the end of the movie just completely negates the movie itself. Like
it doesn't matter. Like
yeah, it made
it change anyway.
But it's weird because like everything changed, but nothing changes. You know what I mean? Like when people were thinking of the Flash,
well said, practical effects.
When people were thinking about the Flash, they were like, "This movie's going to make way for James Gunn's new DC universe." No, it doesn't. Like
it doesn't even address it.
It doesn't even address anything. It's just like this is an easily self-contained movie. Like WB should be happy that it's self-contained, given the reception.
Yeah, watching this movie just made me even like more pissed off because this is such a meaningless movie.
Yeah,
and I don't even dislike it as much as everybody else.
Yeah, it's not awful. It's not the worst
like,
thing I've ever seen.
But like, it's such a meaningless movie. Then you like start like thinking like, there's no way Batgirl was worse than this. There's no fucking way that it was worse than this movie.
I want to go back. Twitter has been updating and shit, so I can't find the tweet. But I bookmarked a Zaslav comment like in last September, before Black Adam came out, where he was like, I'm very confident in the changes we've been making, like supporting the Batgirl decision. And he was like, I'm fully behind Black Adam. I think it's going to be a great movie. I'm fully behind The Flash. It's going to be a great movie. Both of those two came out. Not great movies. I actually like Black Adam.
Shazam, not great.
Oh yeah, Shazam was also a thing.
Aquaman suit, probably gonna be horrible.
Probably gonna be horrible. Like I actually liked Black Adam more than The Flash. Like I would rather rewatch Black Adam before I would rewatch The Flash.
Yeah, and what's funnier is that like the other day I read an article saying like it would have saved WB more money if they would have not released The Flash than if they had. And like they should have just released the Batgirl movie. That movie was made for like what, $80 million? Less?
It was not 200. Yeah, it wasn't 200. Yeah, so yeah, that's just crazy to me.
You could have just made it.
I forgot we still have Blue Beetle coming too.
Yeah. Hey, that's the first DCU movie. What are you talking about?
It's the first DCU movie.
Not really.
Not really. It's like all this stuff. The first one is fucking Superman, guys.
Yeah.
It's not Aquaman.
Don't let the other ones taint what you're starting, James Gunn.
Yeah, James is like, yeah, we need a 2-year break. So
we're already to be winning with Rachel Brosnahan. So
yeah, congratulations, Rachel, and
we won. People
won. The Brosnahan won.
We won. Was it ever a competition?
I mean, everyone was saying him and Matthew was basically all but confirmed.
Yeah. I feel bad for her. Like, imagine reading that. Like, if you're an actress and you read like a spoiler, it's like, oh, maybe I got cast, and then the next day your agent's like, no. She must
go
have
back to Sex Education.
That's fucked up.
I need to watch that.
You're going down, but I heard she's good in Sex Education.
She's good. That show
I
is
think
good.
that show's really good.
Yeah,
My
it's
dad
good.
likes it. Yeah. I mean,
What-
for me, Emma Mackey. I never watched, Maisel. I never watched Sex Education. Even though I know I should.
Evan, you need to watch it.
But for me, Emma Mackey just looked more like a. But they both look the part. It's
Rachel
just that
Brosnahan has that
Had the
like,
energy.
screwball,
Yeah.
comedy, chaotic energy of like Lois Lane for what I think they're going for with this.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're going for the more, I think
Classic.
James Gunn in
Old
general
school,
is going for a more classic interpretation of these characters. He's actually bringing in a Robin, so I think he's going for the more comic booky classic era, which I think is a smart approach in contrast to the Batman or the Man of Steel. Like you got to go the opposite direction. So I'm confident in what James does in 2 years. But anyways, Elemental, which I thought was actually pretty fun.
Pretty good. I like it a lot. Yeah.
I like it a lot too. I'll give it 4 stars here.
Same.
I had a fun time with Elemental. Trailer's not great, Bob.
Pixar trailers are never great,
Are they never great?
except Cars 3. That one was a banner.
I forgot Cars had a pretty solid trailer. Did you ever watch those movies? No, but
You should.
I heard the 3 is fun.
3 is
Don't-
great.
The
don't
Last
watch it.
Jedi of the Cars.
Oh,
It is.
God.
Last Jedi of Pixar.
I don't think I ever watched Cars 2.
Cars 2 not good.
But I
We don't
watched
talk
Cars
about it.
1 when it came out, whenever that came out.
Funny that was John Lasseter's last movie at Pixar.
Fitting.
Oh boy. Anyways, Elemental rocks. Like, we're all huge rom-com fans, and this is Pixar's attempt at doing a good rom-com.
They
with some
should have
depth.
promoted the movie like that.
They should have, right? Yeah, like have some rom-com like trailer editors.
Not this
edit
fucking
it.
wheat
That's the risk.
flawed.
Who? What?
The little
Have you seen
kid.
that TikTok
No.
or that ad where it's like it looks like someone's recording something on a big screen, but it's obviously so fake. The audio is like really clear. It's
Oh,
of the
boy.
Claude scene, the little plant guy.
Yeah. And people are like, Claude's hardly in the movie, so why are you like showing him?
He's
He's
got
in 2
the
scenes.
wrist.
Yeah. And he's not even half bad. Like he's like that gimmicky.
I just don't know why they advertise around him.
Not at all.
Makes
Like,
no
why would you do that?
sense.
Like, give us a rom com. Like, they have a very sweet dynamic. It goes your traditional rom com route, but with the Pixar magic, right? Like, the world building is kind of interesting. I thought they could have done a little bit more with the world building because the world is set up as like a very segregated place for like not fire breathers, but like fire elementals.
Very racist.
Then by the end of the movie, nothing really changes. She leaves, but the city is still racist, kind of. so I'm like, I wish they really would have tied that up at the end because she's just like, well, now I get to build better houses for us. I'm like, this city is still racist, but okay. Anyways, I think Elemental is very sweet. They told a great line with the water character. I forget his name. Wade, yeah, where he could have came off really annoying, and at times he kind of was with the amount of
It was
crying.
really funny. Like,
But
the
he was
whole,
funny.
Non-stop
Like-
crying. That was great. Good job, man.
He became very, very endearing, especially in contrast to Ember, I think is her name.
Yeah.
And I love their dynamic, how it grew, how it changed, how it improved both of their lives, and even their family stuff. Like when I saw the trailer, I'm like, oh boy, it's like the classic, like, I don't want to do this, Dad. You can't force me to do what I don't want to do, kind of thing. But like her,
There's a lot more emotion there.
yeah, it was exactly like the way they
Heart,
built
yeah.
it up, like the way the father had his own like backstory about him leaving his place and
When
his
she bowed to him at the end. Oh man.
oh great full circle
Good.
moment. That was fantastic. So yeah, like I think the family dynamic was strong, the emotions were strong. Elemental is a fun watch.
Animation, gorgeous too. I think it's really well animated.
Gorgeous. Yeah, I agree. Good stuff.
Will
And
they
a lot
have
of people saying
children
like, huh?
Will they have children together though?
Is it just boiled
How
water?
does it work? Yeah, they create the first steam element. It's the first steam.
Evaporation.
Oh boy.
Lava or some shit. I don't know.
Oh man. What are you saying, Josh?
It's just like it's crazy how a lot of people want more original creative movies from Pixar, and this is a very creative original movie from Pixar, and no one's seen it.
Yeah,
Just sad.
I mean, it has legs, kind
it
of.
has
but-
legs. Which
Mhm.
what I'm saying is that like it's going to be making more than Flash, which is a victory. So,
Besides Lightyear,
Um,
Pixar's been putting like nonstop, really creative original movies out.
but they've been dropping them on like,
Yeah.
Disney Plus. Like the marketing, the infrastructure behind it is not helping the great stories they've had. Minus Onward sucks.
It hurt the brand in a way that I don't think it'll ever recover, unfortunately.
No, hey, what are you guys, Mr. Pessimistic 1 and 2 over here?
Until
No.
Toy Story 5, and that'll be
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
smash.
I think Elemental is the beginning of a new rebirth for Pixar. we're out of the COVID out of the COVID era. Elemental is showing some great legs. It's showing that people will go to the movies to go see a Pixar movie, not into droves that had like the peak Inside Out 2015 era. But I think this paved the way for people to be more optimistic for a movie like Elio, which I thought the first.
I think that
teaser
movie's a flop.
I don't think so. I think Elio, it depends on mistake. If it's $200 million, that's a mistake.
They need to like replace their marketing team because so far they've also not done a great job. Between this and Lightyear.
Lightyear, they fucked up. That was bad.
And Turning Red was so fucking good. That should have been in theaters.
Turning Red was great.
That movie would have made $1 billion probably.
It would have made so much money.
Jesus God.
It's a like a lot of people like really. I'm seeing a lot of merch.
A lot of little kids really resonated with that movie.
All the Funktown shirts. Yeah.
I will take it from the Disney adults with that. I believe you guys, but $1 billion is a lot. But I think it would have
but it would have been like probably their biggest success.
It came out in like what,
say,
March of
2024?
2021.
There was nothing going on in March, was it?
2022.
Besides Everything Everywhere, but that's a different.
And the
demo.
Batman, but that's it.
Yeah.
3 hour
Yeah.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right. It could have been a lot of money. But what I was saying is, I was like, these movies are great. They're watching, whether it's on Disney Plus or Elemental, they're good to great movies. I think people are slowly getting warming up to these movies. As long as Pixar commits to releasing everything in theatrical, it will slowly build. You don't have to wait to Toy Story 5 or whatever. I think Elio's play it back to the July where Heartbreak Feels Good episode. Play the clip back. I think Elio is going to be a decent success. Is it going to be
We also have
huge? I don't think so.
we also have Inside Out 2 next year, also in the summer.
Is it Inside Out 2 is the only new one? Is Toy Story 5 next year as well? Or
No, it's Elio and Inside Out 2.
those are the only things? Yeah.
Also, they need to stop making these movies so expensive.
That's what I'm saying, right? I think if Elio isn't 200 million, I think it can be good. I have to go back
That's
and look.
crazy.
Like, how much did Inside Out cost? Right? Like, how much did these other originals?
Not even 100. I don't know. It could be wrong. Animation costs a lot these days because of like work.
175.
Stuff.
That's still a lot.
That's still a lot. But at the time, it
How
made
much
sense.
did
Given,
Nimona
like,
How much? What?
did Nimona cost?
Oh, I don't know.
the mode.
Soul costs 150.
And then they made like $5 on that one. I can't see Nimona. I'm seeing 70, 200. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. Either way,
Well, that
Disney
means
fucked
that
up.
one got like shuffled a lot. So
Yeah, it ballooned because of that. But either way, like, I think the budget made sense back in the day because they had guaranteed successes for everything they were doing. But like, you just got to go with the times. Like, I think Elio is too late now because it's already made. But let's predict Elio 150, right? I think Elio can make a good 300, 400 million. It's a slow grow for these movies.
what's that Elemental at right now?
What is that?
That's a
Like
good question.
90 domestic, 150 overall. I'm not sure.
195 worldwide.
195. Okay.
For these times, that's not terrible.
That's not too terrible. It'll be it's not a flop. It's going to be a loss, of course. But
Yeah.
yeah. Either way, maybe Wish can also spark some creativity or some. I don't know.
It's the mid-November like Walt Disney animation movie, so I
Yeah.
can see people.
Hopefully, it's good. The trailers haven't really sold me, but like Chris Pine having a what's it called?
I
Solo.
wanted to
Villain,
hate on the
Solo.
animation, but I think it looks great.
Yeah, I agree. I think the
Yeah.
combination between 2D and 3D looks very interesting, actually. So I'm hopeful, even though I don't think it'll be nominated. Animation's been great 2 years in a row. 2022 was great. 2023 shaping up to be a very good year for animation as well.
Unless Wish is like really, really good, I think Elemental has a better shot at the nomination.
Maybe
If a Disney movie gets in at all.
if a Disney movie gets
It's
in
just
at all.
so stacked this year, though.
Yeah, I cannot wait for Chicken Run and TMNT and
Because Spider-Verse. What else is locked? Probably How Do You Live if that comes out.
I think Nimona is a lock. Nimona is like one of the
Nimona's a
highest rated
lock.
movies of the year.
TMNT probably, then Chicken Run, I'd say.
And then Chicken Run.
Maybe Elemental, maybe Wish.
Because Chicken Run, like the Wallace and Gromit studio, is known for getting easy noms.
Mhm.
Academy loves that studio. But yeah, that was Elemental.
What's next?
What else do we have? Did
Indie?
everybody else see Extraction 2?
I did.
I liked Extraction 2.
I think it's a fine movie, but like I told you on our chat, I would like
Yeah.
these movies more if I cared about the characters, which
You
I
care.
don't.
Does the movie want us to care, Edgar?
Probably not.
Probably not. I had a fun time. Extraction 2 is a lit. It's great. It's a fun time. Great. It's 3.5 stars. But like, it's a very fun, watchable, serviceable Netflix movie. Probably would have had even more fun if I saw this in theaters. I think with the stunts and the level of technicality that they have in their action scenes, it just would be so much more improved in the theater experience. They do try to make us care more about Chris Hemsworth's character. There's a stronger team dynamic in this one, which I enjoyed. The villain is very cliche, like I want my family back kind of thing, revenge. But the jail sequence is phenomenal. There's a great train sequence, helicopter train sequence.
The glass building thing.
The glass
pretty
building
cool.
thing is really cool. And again, I don't really care about these characters, whether they live or die, but the stunts around them is pretty cool. And it's an easy breezy, fun watch. Like it's not one of my favorite Netflix movies, but I have a fun time whenever I'm watching these. Like,
Are there any good one takes?
Yeah. The jail sequence is like 10 minutes long. It's like you can tell where they cut, but like I think it's still very, very like I couldn't do that shit. Like it's very good, very, very cool.
Sam Hargrove he did second unit director, right? What has he worked on before this?
Section 1 and 2.
Was it John Wick?
Was he involved in John Wick? Yeah, I think he might have had some credits in the John Wick franchise. Maybe
He worked a lot in Marvel movies like Deadpool,
Marvel.
Thor, Avengers Endgame, Birds of Prey.
I think he was second unit on like Endgame and
yeah, that's what it was. Yeah,
maybe.
You can really tell in that one fight scene in Endgame. No, I'm kidding.
He was second unit on Mando season 2. I think there's some good stuff in season 2. Right? Did
Give me 2
action sequences. Like
Give
the
me
Boba
2
Fett episode.
What episode? Sorry.
Boba Fett episode, the Ahsoka fight.
Yes. I forgot Ahsoka's coming out next month.
I'm so excited.
It's gonna be fun.
Fuck you.
I love Ahsoka. I love you, Ahsoka. I'm not excited for your TV show. Maybe
How are you excited?
I'm very indifferent
It's
about it.
basically the Rebels sequel.
Exactly.
I've gone over the fact that
I haven't, Bob.
animated. At least we're seeing these characters still and their
Still
story
stuck
continue.
in 2017. Bring back Rebels.
It looks good. Like it looks way better than most of the Mando stuff we've seen.
Yeah.
Like visually. At least I think.
It's hard to compare via trailers. Like there's still certain sequences where she's like dropping down with the.
It's still very much volume, but I think Dave Filoni is a better writer than Favreau, so I think he'll be stronger there.
Ooh.
At least post Chef 2014 Favreau.
There we go. There's a caveat.
Besides Chef and like everything before that, he's better.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you forget. Like, I'm not a fan of Davis. I'm not a huge fan of Davis live action stuff, but like, he wrote one of my favorite shows of all time in Star
He
Wars.
wrote Rebels. He wrote Clone Wars.
Yeah, he wrote Rebels.
Yeah, Tales of
Rebels
the
were
Jedi
my-
even was most of him, and that was great.
Yeah, top 10 shows of all time for me is Rebels. So I love Rebels.
Probably my
so
favorite show of all time.
it's great. So yeah, I have faith as much as I can. I hope I'm optimistically surprised, if that's a word.
That's fair.
Phrase. What else? So Extraction happened.
I do have
Yes.
some
Asteroid
first
City.
watches, some rewatches. Before
I have
we
a lot
get
of
to
rewatches.
that-
I haven't
Before we get
talked
to
about
that,
Yeah.
I watched a few of the earlier Wes Anderson films for the first time. Bottle Rocket, which is his first, really good, and it was very much like you tell it's a low budget, but it's very much like a heist movie that's really good with Luke Wilson, Owen Wilson. You'd see this like sprinklings of his style in there, but still very much like more of a conventional film compared to his later work.
Okay, cool.
Really liked
Yep.
it. Rushmore, obviously, probably what people think is his like first major work. Jason Schwartzman's first role, and he's fucking great in it.
First role? When did
Yeah.
that come out?
98.
Oh wow. Well, Wes has been in it for a minute.
He's just Wes Anderson's such a talented filmmaker, and his choices, like musically and the shot compositions he comes up, the pairings between like sonic and visual is so good.
Mm.
And it's a really good needle drop at the end. That's great, and it's just a really fun like it's basically beef before beef. The second half of this movie between Jason Schwartzman and Bill Murray.
Got it. Like the Netflix series beef.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also watched Royal Tenenbaums for the first time, which is automatically jumped to one of my favorite Wes Anderson movies.
Yeah, that's your
it's-
favorite, along with Grand Budapest.
Yeah, it's really good. It has such a good emotional core, but also it's probably his first like Wes Anderson movie where his style really comes true and really forms to like what we know today from his style.
Mm-hmm.
But like, there's still such a grounded emotional core to that movie, and it's basically Succession before Succession. Edgar, you'd love it.
What was the name again?
The Royal Tenenbaums.
Have you seen a lot of Wes Anderson stuff, Edgar?
Just a few, not a lot. I've seen I Love Dogs, which I don't love.
It's so
It's
good.
probably the only one I've seen.
Fantastic Mr. Fox, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. What else have I seen? I'm missing another one. I don't remember.
French
what it was.
Dispatch.
French Dispatch. There you go.
You haven't seen Grand Budapest?
I've seen like half of it, but like I don't really count it because I didn't really like finish it.
Are you just not a fan of Wes Anderson?
I like Wes Anderson. I just haven't had like the time like to like
Yeah.
really dig
Do you
into it.
love Wes Anderson?
He ain't no Scorsese, I can tell you that.
How dare you?
Yeah.
all
He's
the,
one of those directors that I really want to get back or get into watching because I just
Yeah.
have not.
He's just
watched.
such a creative talent that we have, and that all leads into Asteroid City, which came out this month, and I adored. Did you
he
watch
was
this, Evan?
Not at all. I'm good.
How?
It looks boring.
Not.
I want to say I will watch it eventually, but I probably won't. But it has a great cast. It looks interesting. What the main thing for me, if I start from the beginning like you and then grow into Asteroid City, maybe then I would have an inclination to watch it.
My first Wes Anderson movie was probably Moonrise Kingdom, which was 2011.
I heard that
The first one I really loved was Grand Budapest, and I love Isle of Dogs a lot. Then French Dispatch has become a favorite movies of all time.
Really
Great.
of all time.
Yeah,
French
it's so
Dispatch.
good. I
Last
love it.
year's French Dispatch, or was that 2 years ago?
2 years ago, yeah.
Jeez.
It was alright.
But Asteroid City, it's a very different movie. It's has that style and that cartoonish like nature that he's been playing around with recently, but it's a lot more grounded in its themes and its story, while also playing around with like meta filmmaking and its story device of like setting it with the play that's also a show within the
Yeah.
movie.
It is
It's
a lot
really well
more, like,
done.
more melancholy. Like it kind of feels like,
Yeah.
even though it's not like as obvious as something like maybe like Babylon or The Fablemans. Like it really does feel like his love letter to like storytelling as a whole, not just
His
film.
love letter to actors in particular
Yeah.
too. Whereas like Prince Dispatch was his ode to writers, this feels more to actors. And that balcony scene with Margot Robbie and Jason Schwartzman, one of the best of the year.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I loved it.
It's a good movie.
I
Cinematography, production design off the charts. Should
Really?
win Oscars, but won't even get nominated.
should win Oscars.
There's also like the whole cast in this movie is just very like, just like I mean all of his cast is like charming like from all his movies, but like I feel like I care a lot about even the minor characters. Like there's this little group of kids that just like kind of like
Stargazers.
fuck around and like write songs about what's happening around them, and it's just I don't know. It feels like a
It's
hug.
cozy.
Yeah, it feels
Yeah.
like a warm hug. If that makes
That's why his
sense.
movies are so good. Like they have this like
Mundane.
melancholic, mundane nature, but they're so warm and cozy.
Mhm.
And like there's some of the most impressive filmmaking I've ever seen, because like he gets away with putting such a big budget into his movies, but like not costing that much, because his actors don't like cut their pay rates because they just love working with him, which is really interesting.
Wow. High praise.
Scarlett Johansson also great in this movie.
Yeah.
Is she gonna get
From-
double nominated again?
Speaking of Scarlett Johansson, I also watched.
You watched Ghost in the Shell? Holy shit!
I watched Aloha. Wait, no,
Oh.
it's Emma Stone, right?
That's I'm stuff.
Did you watch Past
Um,
Lives? Is she's in it?
Yeah, she's like a cameo in that.
Wow. Lost in Translation from Sophia Coppola.
Oh, I've never seen that.
First time watching that. It's fucking great. It's like these two lost souls and wandering around Tokyo, her and Bill Murray, they somehow meet at a hotel bar, and they form this like really interesting dynamic and relationship. It's great. Evan, you'd love this movie.
Yeah, I
It's
can't wait.
problematic though.
It's a little problematic, yeah. So I feel
Oh,
like
no.
the trust part of it.
You said Sophia Coppola, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen a single one of her movies.
Bleeding Rain is probably my favorite from her.
Oh, that's with Emma Watson.
Yeah. I really like her remake of what's it called? The Beguiled or something like that. Is
The
that what it-
Beguiled, yeah.
Yeah. I liked it.
Cool.
Wanna
Also,
talk-
what were we saying?
No, I was gonna say like if you guys wanted to jump to Past Lives, but
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Stay in the
in the depressive
melancholic
mode.
sadness.
Evan, were you put on suicide watch?
Jesus. No, I was not. But, I don't cry during movies. I pride myself in being a stone cold killer. You got to be a killer. No. But
Cost
I-
of actually winning, am I right?
Yeah, exactly. But I did start to tear up. I did start to tear up during that during that final scene. I think it's one of my favorite scenes of the entire year. Is there is a final
the best
scene
movie of the
Past
year.
Lives. It's fantastic. It's so great. I don't want to go into spoilers with this one, do we?
No.
No.
Okay, keep
Don't
it
need
fresh
to.
for the audience. Yeah, it's not really not the spoilers. There's no cameos at the end. Sorry, no spoilers.
Dread Druid shows up.
That'd be amazing. His wife.
There was a Dread Druid shout out in another movie that just came out.
Oh yeah, I think I
Yeah.
know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Is this a Mission Impossible thing again?
Yeah.
No.
Anyways, yeah, yeah, I love that final scene. Like, I think when we get to the end of the year, that final scene between them is going to be played as many times as like the alleyway scene and everything
Mhm.
everywhere.
I'll never forget like my experience at the theater during that like silence of them just looking
Yeah.
at each other by the Uber or waiting for the Uber. It's
It's
so
fantastic.
fucking good.
For me,
Well,
like what
yeah.
what broke me is like them again. I don't want to go super specific about the ending, but like them like walking down the stairs and starting walking across the street, and I'm just realizing like, oh, this is like it's paralleling what happened earlier in the movie. Oh no!
Yeah, it was great.
Yep.
It's funny because when they're kids, slight spoiler, but when they're kids and they're walking, and they say goodbye to each other, and I'm like, if they do a parallel of a certain scene, I was like, then this movie's going to be 5 stars automatically.
Yeah.
And then
they did.
my wish was granted. I'm like, okay, 5 stars automatically, because it's one of those scenes where I'm watching it for the first time. I'm like, that was a really underrated, really good scene. I can see that being something that they set up later on. It totally did. So I just adore the parallels. It's poetic storytelling to the max. Where a lot
It's
of
insane that this is the directorial debut from Saint Son.
Right?
Incredible debut.
I'm not like the biggest like where I can tell where like that's good writing. Like I'm kind of good at that now these days, but like when I'm watching this movie, I'm like 10 minutes in, I'm like, that's fantastic writing. Like the way
the structure of it all is really well done too.
The structure is fantastic. The dialogue between the two characters feels so real, so human, so natural, while also being very like poetic and so meaningful. With
and the relationship feel very real. Like again, not getting into spoilers, but there's like a character that's related to the main character, to Nora, that you think he's gonna turn out to be like an asshole about the whole situation.
No, that scene in the bed is so well written.
So like so heartbreaking.
Yeah. Josh Seguro,
John
Magaro, thank you.
From, he's in First Chow. I remember from Orange is the New Black.
What was the first? What was that say? You said
The Big Short.
Orange is the New Black.
Orange is the New Black. And you said he's in Big Short.
Yeah, he's also in Overlord.
I liked Overlord. That was fun. Anyways, yeah. He is in Overlord. Yes.
Yeah.
I remember. I had the Blu-ray of Overlord. Overlord's fun. Anyways, I just adore his character because again, it could have gone a certain direction, but he's such a really nice, fleshed out character who has like these authentic thoughts, and his dynamic with his wife is just so good. I was just hooked right from the beginning. They had a special, really interesting scene in the beginning of the movie that really sets up the dynamic between the 3 main characters, and it was fantastic. And then Greta Lee, just a lot of her subtle, emotive performances, just peak subtle performance.
One of my favorite performances of the year so far.
Easily. She's great. This kind of performance I really want to win an Oscar, but she probably won't. Because it's just so great, so subtle, so beautiful. Because she conveys a lot in all the different times of her life. And then, quick question for you guys. Tao Yo, who played the main guy, was he the same actor in the middle? Because there's a child, and then there's a second.
Yeah. It's different haircut.
Yeah,
haircut threw me off. I was like, "Is that a different actor?"
I know what you meant, but they're the same people.
I was like, "Is that a different actor? He looks totally different." But I guess good job for the hair.
The emo haircut.
Yeah, it really threw me off. I was like, "That a totally different actor?" Because people were, when I'm watching now, I'm like, people were saying he's gonna be in Best Lead Actor, but he's only hardly been in the movie. But I guess if he was in the second part, then yeah. I mean, yeah, because he looked like younger than he looked dramatically older. Like really good stuff there. But regardless, yeah, I love everything about this movie. The writing, the character dynamics, the heart, the direction, very smart. Just like when they're walking, when they're going through a lot of the scenery across New York.
That one shot of like where it starts really pulled away when they're walking through the park and just like traps them. It's so good.
It's great.
The bar sequence towards the end.
I love it. I love it.
The opening of the movie too. Like, really interesting. Yeah.
It's so genius. Easily one of the best movies of the year, probably the best. So loved it. Fantastic. Yeah, I've only gave like 3 5 stars this entire year so far, and this is one of them for sure.
Yeah.
No, actually, I lied. 4.
I've only given 2 this year so far.
2.
I have Spider-Verse, Past Lives, Suzume,
I'm at like 4 or 5.
Yeah. Did you give Rylane 5, Josh?
Huh?
Did you give Rylane 5?
I did.
Yeah, I rewatched that last month too. By the way,
My only 5s are Past Lives and John Wick Chapter 4.
No Guardians. Wow.
No,
not for me either. It's
4.5. But no.
4.5 for Guardians. Yeah.
Okay.
I have like a number 20 right now. Just kidding.
We'll show our Letterboxd list at the end.
Yeah.
Only 3 movies I've given 4.5: Guardians, Margaret, and Across the Spider-Verse.
Wow. Okay.
Wow, okay.
Stingy as Letterboxd user. But I also did a lot of rewatches before we went on the TV, or no, we have indie. I did a lot of rewatches. Like I rewatched the Terminator movies with my brother. T1 is fantastic. T2, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Josh wouldn't know.
T2,
it's like Terminator Salvation.
Oh no. We did not rewatch that one. We just watched T1 and T2. But T2 is one of the best action movies of all time. Top 5 easily. Fantastic.
It wasn't top Fast 5 though, am I right?
Top Fast 5. It's better than Fast 5, for sure. There is no Fast 5 without T2. But yeah, T2 is fantastic. What else did I rewatch? I rewatched When Marnie Was There from Studio Ghibli. Rewatched.
I need to watch more of the like non-Miyazaki Ghibli movies.
You do, because there's some.
Yeah, Whisper of the Heart I need to watch. Only yesterday.
I just rewatched Whisper of the Heart on July 3rd, actually. So yeah, but still 5 stars from me. So I rewatched a couple. Oh, and then
it's your favorite Ghibli, right?
Yeah, Whisper of the Heart's my favorite, followed closely by When Marnie Was There, and then Spirited Away. But then Nathan and I have also been rewatching the Mission Impossible movies for the lead up to Mission Impossible.
Rewatched all of those myself.
Me too.
Except 2.
Except 2. Yeah, great.
I will stand by. Road Nation's the best one.
It's funny we just finished watching Road Nation on what's today? Friday. On Wednesday, and right when I finished that, like I gave him a whole spiel about why I love it. Then I went on Twitter and I saw Edgar's tweet about it, and he pretty much encapsulated my whole thoughts about the movie. I think it's a perfect example of Christopher McQuarrie getting his hooks in on the Mission Impossible franchise and taking what I love about the previous entries, the action, the stunts, but also imbuing it with like great, dramatic, cinematic, like
the opera set piece is like
opera set piece.
It's pure blockbuster,
best fucking
cinema.
thing I've seen in cinema. It's so good.
Rebecca Ferguson's just a
Fallout's probably like the best like concentration of what makes these movies special and everything put together. But I still think I prefer Road Nation just because I think I like Rebecca Ferguson's introduction and like what she does in that movie a lot, and I like Sean Harris.
Sean Harris is so good.
Gets more to do in Road Nation, and he's fucking great.
I don't love the third act of Rogue Nation,
which
is why
Edgar with the hot take over here. Oh shit! It's definitely one of the most tame third acts for a mission film. But I kind of like it because it's embodied by Ilsa and Ethan's dynamic.
Tame? They're about to fucking blow up Simon Page.
But they didn't.
Yeah, but like...
No explosions, no bombs. It's just it's a big...
a few windows broken, but...
A few windows broken, yeah. But it's so... I love the way McQuarrie shoots a lot of these scenes. Like, the jazz scene where he, like, walks in, he starts talking, like, spy talk with the jazz girl. Yeah. And then smoke comes in, and he's banging against the window, and then he leaves like the face mark. Oh, so good. And then, of course, Ilsa's introduction in the Opera House is fantastic. Ilsa, in general, one of the best characters of all time. I love Ilsa.
I said earlier, the Opera House sequence is the best this franchise have seen. It is rivaled in part 1, Evan. It is rivaled.
Oh boy, Jesus! Any more teases? I can't wait. I'm gonna die in that theater.
You are gonna die.
You will die.
Oh no! I was already on suicide watch for
in multiple ways.
I can't wait.
But you will get your poster and your pin.
I will get that poster and the pin, baby. But yeah, then Ilsa scene when Ilsa saves Ethan in the water scene, peak. Like when he's like putting it in, then he's like literally just died
really good
in the water. And then she saves him. The music scores again. It's just it's fantastic. And then when Ilsa's like, we can walk away together, Ethan, and Ethan's like low key considering it. And then of course, his love is always the mission.
Yeah. Out of all the movies, I feel like after 2, the Rogue Nation is the closest that gets to like the horniness of 2 of Mission
Yeah, and that's probably why I love it. Yeah, it's big time horny. A lot of great leg shots on Rebecca too. Fantastic.
Oh my God.
Great stuff. Christopher McQuarrie knows what we want. And then
Can I put out a suggestion before we move on? I do need to go pretty soon. How about we save Indy for next month? Does that work?
I mean, there's not much to discuss. We can just talk about it real quick.
We can do it real
It's
quick.
good.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah, Rogue Nation's awesome. But yeah, Indy, I thought it was fine. I didn't love it. This is the movie that I was talking about in relation to The Flash, this is a better movie than The Flash, yes. But I had the same issue with this where I'm just like, I get Indy's arc. I like Indy's arc. I like how the first scene in this movie, he's, spoiler alert, they show a big chest shot. Like, this is the old man. Like, he doesn't look the best.
I like that, though. I like how they address it. And how
exactly, right?
That.
They needed to. They need to address it. But for me, this movie felt like very emotionally hollow.
I disagree.
And
I disagree too.
The ending of this movie just didn't ring. It didn't feel earned to me.
Really? Wow.
Are we doing spoilers?
Sure.
We have to, yeah.
Nobody's seen this movie, and probably nobody will.
Poor Harrison.
It's a shame. It's a
See
shame.
that poor Harrison's like, when have you seen the movie?
I think this movie is really good. Like, it's a lot better than a lot of people make out to be.
It's good for me, but like, it didn't have like that energy that I wanted from it, especially at the final chapter.
I think Phoebe Waller-Bridge brings that energy.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Yeah, she's great. She's fantastic. But for me, I didn't really fully connect with their dynamic. And when Indy gets to the end with Marion, it doesn't feel earned at all. She divorced him, and then she just shows up. Like, what made her change her mind? Something off screen?
She misses him.
I think
she's the one who filed for the divorce papers in the first place, and then she just comes up. I missed him.
I don't think she filed. It's just like I think they agreed on separating because they didn't know how to support each other after Mutt dying.
They even make a point
Then
about
what
him
cha-
still
what
like wearing the ring.
changes?
Yeah,
What
he still
changes?
wears the ring. I'm sure she does too.
Great. But like, she wasn't there to witness any of the changes that Indy went on throughout this movie. Like, she wasn't there to see his change, to see his troubles, his like what
It's
he was
the
saying.
movies though. Who cares?
But no, like, so then, like, I'm like, where did you come from, and why are you so happy with him now? Like,
I think also that's kind of the point that the movie is trying to make, because like the whole point and the whole MacGuffin of this movie is trying to go to the past, and because all of these characters, the villains of the movie, are nostalgic for the past, and like they want to like correct what was wrong from them in the past, and like that's something that I really like about the session that Indy tries to make too at the end, when they go back to like, what is it, like Greek?
the Battle of Syracuse.
Yeah,
Syracuse.
like him trying to stay in like in the past, because like he like what he said, like why am I gonna go back to the present? There's nothing there for me anymore.
And like, I've been studying this place. Let me live it. Like, it's really good.
And I feel like even though a lot of people have made the case for like, oh, like he doesn't get to make the final choice in his life, like
He didn't need to.
He would have ruined his life. He would have ruined.
He would have ruined
Elena's life. He ruined the whole history. Like, if he did
People
that,
saying he should have stayed.
I think some people are. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but and I think that's the reason why the ending works for me, is him realizing that he does have people that he can care about.
Yeah, he's
It's
not
just that-
alone. Like,
Yeah,
Marion's there, but he just was so reluctant to like reconnect because he was scared of like accepting the fact that Mutt died.
and that he fell, kind of
What's
like Luke, but not as like
It's similar.
well
yeah.
written. It's a little bit messy, I can admit that, but like I feel like
I think the heart is still there within it though.
It totally is, and I think it is genius to do a parallel to the most romantic scene in the franchise.
Yeah, it's so good.
Oh,
right there,
so
there.
great.
My mom was like tearing up. She's like, "Oh, but they're doing the same." I'm like, "Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic." I love that. Yeah, great end shot.
And I don't understand why people are saying like that twist is so ballsy and like so bold when this movie had fucking aliens in the last one.
I think it's ballsy because this is the longest they've ever been in a
That's
third act
true.
artifact scene. Like
Yeah.
I think I really liked that choice though, but
I do too. I was
Crazy.
fine with it. Like in Raiders, it's like a minute long, and then Temple of Doom, it's like Kali Ma is kind of like crazy, but it's not long, and then the other one is just like, oh, he can walk.
it's
around
more
and
there.
whatever.
Yeah, there's more.
But like this one is just, and the aliens is just like 2 seconds, and that's it. This one's like a whole 10-minute sequence. It was long, and they actually interacted with the environment, which was crazy. But yeah, I didn't mind it. I thought it worked for the Indies theme again. And going back to what you were saying, again, I agree with you guys saying like Indy shouldn't have made that decision. I think that was a very smart thing to have like Helena be the one to be like, you're an idiot. We're not sticking in the past. You're not going to do this. Like, this isn't who you are. You respect the past. You shouldn't be stuck in the past. So it was good. I really liked Helena throughout this movie.
How would you guys rank the Indiana Jones movies now?
4, 5.
4. Oh, you're doing backwards.
Yeah, like from quote unquote worst to best.
Oh shit, Kingdom Control.
I don't dislike Kingdom Skull. I think it's fine. 4, 5, probably. I really like Temple of Doom, but
I love Temple of Doom.
I'll put it 3. Then I'll do Raiders, and first Last Crusade.
Yeah, for me, it's Last Crusade. I used to be Temple of Doom is always like the best pinnacle for me. It was my first Indiana Jones movie I ever watched, so I always had to.
It's just so out there and so weird.
And I never had a problem with Willie. I still don't. But
racism, not great. But besides that,
yeah. Anyways, but then I just did the commentaries with Nathan, and Last Crusade really hit me there. So Last Crusade, it depends on the day, but Last Crusade, then Temple, then Raiders, then Dial, and then Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Agreed. That's him.
Yeah, but then depending on the day, I might like Temple of Doom more. It's just we are going to die.
This Last Crusade, that ending is just fucking perfect.
The Last Crusade ending is like, let it go, Indiana. Like, oh, my heart.
Sean Connery is so good.
Sean Connery is so good. Speaking of that, like, I did not enjoy a lot of the action sequences in this movie, and it really disappointed me because
they're fun.
They're whatever.
When somebody says, "Hey Evan,"
serviceable.
When they're like, "Hey Evan, what's your favorite action scene in Dial of Destiny?" The first train scene is kind of fun.
Right.
It looks cool.
Let me tell you, Evan, another tease.
Oh,
another train sequence is 10 times better.
I know it is. I can't wait. I didn't watch the behind the scenes. Like Tom Cruise has been posting behind the scenes of the train stuff, and I was like, not watching behind the scenes. I don't want to see anything outside of the trailers.
Watching Indiana Jones, that train sequence after that Reckoning, it was definitely affected. Yeah,
but like the action in this movie is not fun at all. It's not really interesting. For me.
I will say, even though not a single action set piece really stood out in this movie, the one that kind of like had me a little bit on the edge of my seat was when the Nazi people come into like his office and like pursue him through like the parade in New York.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Until it got to the parade, I was like, eh. But through the library, I think it was good.
That was classic Indy, yeah. Where he's like, "What the hell?" And then the books are falling and everything. That's great. Boyd Holbrook, low key, kind of wasted.
He was alright.
He was getting punched by an 80-year-old man every scene he got. You are the worst henchman ever. He should have been fired. He was terrible. And then at the end, he's just shooting off the natives, or not natives, the Romans. And I'm like, this guy is garbage. He's a terrible henchman. Where do you get this guy? Match was really solid, though. Really solid performance from Match. Not his best, of course, but, he was okay.
But yeah.
And yeah.
If you want to wrap it up.
Indy.
Before we get to... Wait, do we want to save the bear for something else, or do we want to talk about it now?
We can. I mean, that's gonna take a while. So if you want to
take a while, we can do a separate episode.
Honestly, I'm down with that because I just talked about so much. Yeah.
Episode 7, peak.
So good. Also, No Hard Feelings, really fun.
That came out in June. I liked No Hard Feelings a lot. That was really funny.
Reality with what's her face? Sydney Sweeney, really good too. Really tense.
No.
Reality is what's that?
And that's
I'll save Nimona for July since I did
The Blackening, really good horror movie too.
I talked about Blackening last. I saw it in May. But yeah, Blackening is really fun. Really, really funny.
I mean, I just saw Joyride last night, but we'll save it for July. But it's fun.
That's July. Yeah.
Seeing that tomorrow. Better than Joyride? Or better than No Hard Feelings?
Insidious next month too, so you better watch the movies, people.
I think Joyride is better than Hard Feelings.
Okay.
But not that I didn't love Joyride. It was solid.
Is there a topless Jennifer Lawrence scene in Joyride?
No, but there is a bottomless.
Plenty, actually.
Wow, really? Okay. I'm hyped. Seeing that Saturday.
Check us out, Josh.
All right. Yeah, Edgar, where do people find you?
Yeah, you can find me at ADGRTEG on all social medias, including the brand new Threads. We'll see where that shit will go. So yeah, I guess we'll wait and see. But yeah, you can find my review for Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 on lot of clear reviews. And what else? Oh yeah, I'm working on I'm kind of like trying to like rank, like crack my top 5 favorite stunts in the franchise. So that will come up in a week or so. So yeah, you can look for that.
The train scene.
It is in the top 5.
Yep.
Fucker. I hate you guys with a passion. Are you guys both still going Monday for the?
I am.
I'm probably just going.
Anyways, yeah. Find me on Twitter, and I don't even know what my Threads account is, but find me on Twitter at HarrisEV9. We didn't talk about a lot of TV shows, but I'll say that for the next episode because I loved Silo that premiered throughout June.
I need to watch that.
That was a very, very fun sci-fi mystery drama. So if you haven't watched Silo, check it out. Platonic, I also heard, is very good.
Really good.
And
like we said earlier, The Bear season 2 is like.
And then of course, yeah, we're going to do a whole episode on The
Bear. I've ever seen. Yeah.
Second best show of the year.
Second best?
Easily. Second best.
Succession?
You can't beat Succession for me.
Yeah,
Succession's unbeatable.
That's true.
Unbeatable. Anyways, yeah. Twitter, HarrisEV9. Can't wait to talk about Mission Impossible during Mission Impossible week next week. Can't wait.
And find me at Josh T. Woodbury on Twitter and Threads at the same and you'd find my review of Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 on Where Heartbreak Feels Good right here on this channel. That went up 2 days ago. So you'd find this podcast at WHFG Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads for show updates and stuff. I also went on friend of the show Trey, his podcast Mile High Cinema earlier this week to talk about Asteroid City and The Bear season 2. So if you can't wait for my thoughts on that, go check out his podcast.
Yeah, I retweeted that as well. Can't wait to listen to that.
Yeah. Until the next one. Heartbreak Feels Good here. We'll be back. I wanted Evan next week before the Emmy nominations. We got to bring back that and start.
When are they? That July at the end of next week.
Wednesday.
Oh yeah, so we have time. Monday, Tuesday. Yeah. I'm good.
So that will be our next episode.
Yep.
Bye everyone.
Bye bye.
Let's all